Let's bring in our next guest. Mary Addi is a longtime opponent of Gulen charter schools in the United States. Let's bring her in. She joins us now from Cleveland, Ohio. Mary, now you call yourself an opponent of the Gulenists. Tell us about your personal experience that made you become a major critic.
Well, in 2008, well, actually it was in 2006, I made the unfortunate decision to be employed at one of their schools. At the time of my employment, I didn't know that they were part of the Gulenist organization. It was only after I married my husband, who was a member of the organization, did I find out about the organization and all the criminal activities that they were involved in, including the Tuzak, which is a document that my husband and I found. My husband removed it from the school server, and we provided the federal government with countless documents documenting criminal activities that were being initiated in that school and other schools within that district in Ohio. Ohio has one of the highest numbers of the Gulenist schools, and based on our evidence, the federal government, the FBI, the Department of Education, Criminal Division, the IRS, and the INS all conducted raids on at least 15 of their facilities, but that was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and they've yet to do anything. I'm still waiting for them to start arresting these criminals.
Okay, you say your husband is a member of FETO. Where is he now, Mary?
Unfortunately, despite me helping him gain U.S. citizenship and his family permanent residency in the United States, we're currently going through a divorce. I believe he's in Turkey. He's now in contempt of court, and on July 24th is going to be sentenced in the United States for contempt of court. He and his brother, Nahit Eminent, against court restraining orders, stole marital funds and had them transferred to Turkey. So he's in a lot of trouble right now, and I'm hoping that the Turkish authorities will help locate both my husband and his brother, because they are complicit in these illegal activities. Okay. It makes me wonder, you know, he says that he's not a Gulenist anymore, but certainly his actions have proven otherwise. He certainly acts like an active Gulenist, and his brother Nahit was a professor at Fatih University for 8 years. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't consider him to be trustworthy either, considering he helped his brother steal the funds.
And you say the court date is next week then?
He's actually already in contempt of court, and on July 24th, the court will sentence him to jail time for contempt of court because he did not purge his contempt of court. In other words, he owes me a considerable amount of money in the funds that he stole, as well as support that he's refused to pay. Okay,
Mary, now, what is the U.S. government doing about these Gulenist schools in the country, especially since Fetullah Gulen and his followers have been labeled as members of a terrorist organization in Turkey, yet the man at the top continues to reside in the United States?
You know, I started my investigation in 2008. I have done numerous interviews. I have a website, charterschoolwatchdog.com, where I've documented evidence of their criminal activities. They are involved in a host of criminal activities, including H-1B fraud, discriminatory actions. And yes, that is an excellent question. I have now gone through 3 different presidential administrations waiting and wondering why the United States has not done anything to stop this criminal organization. And as I believe, as does Turkey, it is a terrorist organization. I am greatly concerned that the U.S. taxpayers are funding a terrorist organization. I have voiced my concerns over and over, far before the attempted failed coup 3 years ago. I have you know, one of the interesting components of this is that our politicians have accepted so much money in contributions from the Gulenists over the years, and as well as free trips to Turkey. So it appears that our politicians are easily bought. We have a president right now who's so concerned about caging up illegal immigrants, but yet he's allowed an alleged terrorist to live in the United States unfettered, and allowed over 173 of his affiliated schools to be run on United States tax funds. So there clearly is a disconnect here, and I've asked citizens, I've asked parents, start going to the board meetings, start questioning, ask your politicians, ask your lawmakers, why are we allowing this to happen? This is our country. These are our tax funds. We are funding essentially a terrorist organization. I do not understand why Fethullah Gulen has not been extradited. I don't understand how any alleged terrorist can remain in the United States. He came over here under the guise of being an educational expert with a 5th grade education, and they gave him a permanent residency card. They continue to bring over Gulenists on H-1B visas, who ultimately we are paying for their educations and their permanent residency with taxpayer tax funds. So that's an excellent question. I've been asking this question for now 11 years.
Yeah, well, that's what we've also been talking about with our on-set guest, Shannon Arctic. Well, Mary, thank you very much for that very powerful personal story. I do appreciate it.